In 1976, the paleontologist Roger Wood described a species that was, at the time, new to science. It was a species of giant turtle with 2,500-pound bodies and flat, circular 2 to 2.5 meter long shells. And it lived relatively recently, between 7 and 13 million years ago. They were known to exist in the northern wetland regions of South America, before the Orinoco and the Amazon rivers even existed. These giant turtles, which could grow to be the size of a car, were given the name Stupendimus geographicus. The Stupendimus is a reference to their stupendous size, and the Geographicus is a reference to National Geographic, which helped to fund a lot of the expeditions that researched and dug up these giant turtle fossils. They're actually so big that they're 100 times larger than the currently living Amazon river turtle Peltocephalus dumerilianus, which is the giant turtle's closest living relative. So the reason I bring this up, the reason that this is news, is because recently, in Venezuela and Colombia, some scientists discovered another massive fossilized Stupendimus shell, as well as a lower jawbone. Now this find is particularly exciting, because the shell gives us new clues about giant turtle behavior, and the lower jawbone gives us a ton of information about the giant turtle's diet and lifestyle. This new shell revealed a very interesting feature about the giant turtle shells in general. The males had horns. Now the females don't have these horns, so the researchers point out that the species has two shell synapomorphies. It shows sexual dimorphism, or physical differences between males and females. These horns grow out of the front edge of the shell, positioned above each shoulder, and they point forward, and the researchers think that these horns were used for both offense and defense. It's thought that the horns were used offensively to fight other males, like those who wanted to compete for territory, or for reproductive access to a mate. In these encounters, the horns are used like lances or spears, to stab into and perhaps disorient the competitor. The researchers also believe that the horns were used defensively. As they protrude above the shoulders, they effectively extend the shell forward a bit, giving extra protection to the neck and head region. So when a predator, like a caiman or some other giant alligator, comes along and snaps at the turtle's face, it can pull its head back into the shell. But because the turtle is so big, this retraction motion might take a long time, like a full 1.5 seconds or 2 seconds. And in that long time window, a quick predator might be able to grab onto the turtle's face or neck before it pulls its head away to safety. These shell horns provide some passive defenses, so even if the alligator or caiman is quick on the attack, it can still be deflected by the horn. This new fossilized shell, interestingly enough, actually carries within it, embedded within it, a giant alligator tooth, which is the remnant of a predatory attack that occurred 10 million years ago. The lower jawbone was also really exciting, because it gave scientists an insight into their diet and their feeding strategies. Initial hypotheses suggested that the giant turtle was carnivorous, and that it ate fish, and snakes, and smaller alligators. But the new jawbone suggests a more omnivorous diet. The authors suggest that the bone shape and musculature would have allowed it to crush the shells of bivalve mollusks, and its mouth was large enough to consume large fruits, like a palm tree's coconuts. They speculate that Stupendimus geographicus could have had a diet heavy in fruits, which would also suggest that it played a role in its local ecology by spreading seeds around. This would be right in line with the diet of many modern turtles, and it's also right in line with their role as seed dispersers. Now, what about their size? Why were these turtles so big? What evolutionary forces selected for giant size? The researchers explored this subject in their paper, where they point towards warm tropical temperatures as a possible driver. But ultimately, they say that it's impossible to know what caused the evolution of gigantic body size in these turtles, because at the moment, we just don't have enough data. we don't have enough fossils showing the evolution of Mesoamerican turtles, and we don't have enough data on the ancient Mesoamerican climate and environment to know with complete certainty what factors would have influenced their evolution. The authors suggest a generalist diet, as this would have allowed the turtles to eat most things, and thus able to get enough calories to sustain such a large body, although again, this isn't known for certain. While these giant turtles are not a newly discovered species, these newly unearthed fossils tell us a lot about them, a lot that we didn't know before, because we just lacked the data. This is a wonderful example of how you can go out there in the wilderness, find a few cool fossils, and suddenly open up a whole window of insight into the ancient past, shining light into areas that were once hidden in the shadows of the unknown.